Hello and welcome to Guns and Gear. And probably like many people here on YouTube, folks are making videos about a very historic day. Today marks the 10th anniversary of September 11th, 2001. And many people have already began to make videos on where they were, and a lot about how they felt. Well, I decided not to do that because quite honestly I already have a video up that I made last year, and I expressed exactly where I was at and what I was doing, and a lot of my feelings that had built over that particular time and since. So what I thought I would do today, it may be just a little bit different. In my reflections of 9/11/01, I would like to remind especially the folks here in the United States of what our younger generation has done. Okay, I was watching some of the news this morning, and they talked a great deal about the two wars that has resulted from 9/11. And you can have political views on whether they were carried out correctly, or whether there was a need for one and not the other, and so forth and so on. And that is for historians to discuss. Okay, but what I wanted to talk to you about is the young people who are fighting those wars. Okay, the young people who are fighting those wars. I heard on TV that over 2 million people have joined the armed forces since 9/11. 2 million. Okay. A lot of these young men and women have joined the armed services in the past 10 years, were children themselves when 9/11 occurred. Okay, and they joined the armed services knowing that they would probably end up in harm's way as a result, and they joined. Folks my age, folks maybe a little bit older than me, are quick to talk down to the young generation that's coming up. Oh, they don't work as hard as we did, and they're not as responsible as we were, and so forth and so on. I imagine that goes on with every generation, right? I remember the same was said of me when I was growing up in our generation. Okay, when I entered the workforce, it was, you young kids don't know what hard work is, and so forth and so on. But let me remind you that after Pearl Harbor, there was a mass of people that joined the armed services to fight the war of World War II, okay? And yet there was still a draft, okay? They still had to have a draft for World War II. That's something that's really not talked about all that much. The wars, actions, whatever you want to call that has been happening in Afghanistan, Iraq, and other places have all been fought by a volunteer force. And that speaks well for the United States, and that speaks well for our young people. It is a 100% voluntary force. I'll tell you something else that has changed since 9/11. Okay? Our National Guard is no longer a secondary force. Is no longer just a weekend warrior. Okay, those folks are out there, and they have served, and some of them several times they have served in foreign lands in wartime conditions. So God bless you all. God bless the young people that we have, that in the face of knowing that they may end up in battle, and God bless the folks that are in our National Guard services. In many cases, these are older folks, and yet they still are standing up and fighting for us. So my reflection on 9/11 is not one of just looking back at the occasion and looking back at the folks that were taken from us, but it's a look at how our nation reacted, not as a government, but as a people. As a people, we stood up. As a people, our young folks are providing a great example of what America is today. So take that along with you as you watch the different ceremonies at the different sites, and you can't help but be saddened by the lives that were lost. Touching moments of family members talking about their loved ones who had been lost, either in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, or at the Pentagon, or at New York City. Touching stories of firefighters and policemen, average citizens just trying to help their fellow man. It truly is inspiring. But so too is our young people today. You know, right after the Iraq War started, I had a mass email that had been going around, and it had gotten sent to me. So I don't know if it's true or not, but here's what it said. It said that after the first year in the Iraq War and the fighting that had gone on in Afghanistan, the number one reason that soldiers below the rank of sergeant were being punished, or however the proper terminology is, was for not reporting injuries. And the reason being is they did not want to be separated from their fellow soldiers. That speaks well of our young people. They are the forefront of our defense today. And many of them that are joining the services today are mere children when the planes crashed into the World Trade Center and the Pentagon and in that field in Pennsylvania. So, my message is a message of hope. It's a positive message, and it's a warning that we are a resilient people. This is not an empire lost. This is still a great nation. All right, folks, that's really, I just wanted to make a short vid, probably longer than I intended. But as you reflect upon this day and watch the many ceremonies on TV or whatever you may plan to do, remember our young people. Remember the folks that we have lost. And thank God for the United States. Shoot straight on the range and in life. Thanks.